So today I have a cautionary tale for you audiophiles and budding hi-fi enthusiasts. You ever buy something, a component, and it's just working so great? You can't imagine that your life could be any better, but you see a few videos, you read a few articles, and you think, you know what, maybe I can do better. And you go out and get something else. That's what I did. And you know what else happened? I mucked it all up. Yeah, I did. Don't let this happen to you. Hi, I'm Bob, and you are back in United States of Analog. How you doing out there? I'm doing great. I mean, yeah, great. Let me know where you're watching from, please. It's always a great interest to me to know where my viewers come from and where they're watching from. So a cautionary tale today, as I mentioned, and a chance for me to kind of re-review one of the first things I ever reviewed. Back when I started this channel 2 years ago and exactly 29,250 subscribers ago, you see where I'm going with that. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so we can get to 30,000 subscribers sooner than later. Yeah, in the very beginning, I had to kind of review my own gear because I hadn't got into the good graces of distributors and retailers and audio manufacturers. So one of the first things I reviewed was the Fives from Klipsch. Now these are not the ones made in Hope, Arkansas. These are made in a land far away for Klipsch, but these are powered speakers, 160 watts of total power, and I'll get into all the stuff, kind of do a little mini re-review of these. Now my wife and I and my family have been very happy with these in our living room. Now upstairs in my listening room, I also have a home theater set up with Atmos and big mono blocks and an Onkyo receiver and all kinds of goodies up there. But, you know, down here for kind of casual television watching in the living room, I went with Klipsch The Fives. But not before I did a lot of experimentation. Now, full disclosure, I went through about a half a dozen Soundbars, and I returned each and every one. Now, I'm not a fan of returning gear, but actually, I'm a big fan of returning gear. There's no sense hanging on to something that's not working for you, so make sure you choose wisely when you buy from a company. Make sure they have a liberal return policy because it's a good feeling when something doesn't work, at least not to your liking, you know, to have a way out. But yeah, I had returned a bunch of Soundbars at Best Buy or wherever I was buying them, Amazon. They just didn't work for me. There was always something that there was always one or two things that just didn't hit. So one day I was in Costco and I saw these, the basic matte black edition for like $4.99. It was a great deal. It was a no-brainer. I was already a Klipsch fan. You know how much I love my RP600Ms Gen 1 and my Klipsch Forte 4s and you know, the Heresy 3s anniversary models I have here in my bar. You know I'm already a fanboy, so I popped on those because I just did not want to unbox another soundbar. And these, right off the bat, hit the spot. Now, I paid $4.99. Now, a couple years down the road, they're $6.99. I'm sure they're going to go on sale around the holidays. $7.99 if you want to add an 8-inch Klipsch subwoofer to the package, and you can also dial it back if you're willing to go refurbished. Klipsch is notorious for doing sales at least a couple times a year, especially around the holidays, so, you know, look for sales if this is something that interests you. So I'm rocking along for a good time with the Klipsch and my 85-inch Sony color television. It's color, and it's working great. In fact, I sold some of my friends on Klipsch The Fives, and they have them in their homes. I mean, it was just such an easy sell. They were great for me, particularly because of the limited space. You can see here, you know, I just have a little bit of space to wedge in some speakers on each side of my TV. I also combined these with a Jammo 8-inch low-profile subwoofer. Now, it's not some kind of amazing SVS, REL, gigantic subwoofer, but that's exactly why I bought it. I didn't want a big black box in my living room. I have those upstairs in the theater room. I wanted something that would just kind of disappear into the space and just give me a little extra something in the low end. I mean, I'm not trying to reproduce a movie theater in my living room, but I want some good sound, and I want a little bit of, dynamics, I want the soft passages to be soft, and I want the loud passages to be loud, and I want a little bit of deep bass. So I'm rocking that system for a couple of years. And my only complaint, and it's a small complaint, is that every once in a while, the Sony and the Klipsch would not talk to each other. After about 15 minutes of being on, my Sony TV occasionally, not every time, but just occasionally, would flip back over to the TV speakers for no apparent reason. It was a little annoying, but it gave me enough of an excuse to go speaker shopping, and I did again. And I went out and tried another pair of powered speakers about this size. Didn't have HDMI, so I had to rely on the optical cable, which meant I had to use the remote control for those particular speakers. When you've got HDMI ARC, you can use the Apple TV remote, whatever remote you're using to control the TV will also control the speakers. So that was inconvenient, but worse than that, the sound kind of gave me a headache. I don't know what those speakers were doing or not doing, but every different source, every different platform, Netflix, Amazon, everything sounded different than the one before. Even my own YouTube videos, which are normally recorded impeccably, sounded really thin, and I couldn't figure it out. It never sounded like that before, at least not on the Klipsch. And after watching a TV show, I was kind of walking away with a headache. I don't know if my brain was working overtime, trying to make the sound better, if that makes any sense. I just feel like my brain was working. I wasn't happy. It just wasn't satisfying. Then one of my sons, Dylan, who you've seen on this channel before, said, "Hey, we ought to try these Apple HomePods." And I thought, well, how much are they? And he says, well, they're around $600 or whatever for the pair. You need a pair. That's about the same price as this. So he went and got them. We plugged them in. And I was hoping that the Apple HomePods would have some kind of secret sauce that I didn't know about, that I didn't hear about. I'd never seen a review on them. I just thought, well, it's Apple. I like Apple products. They usually work very well. I have an Apple TV. They're probably going to have some secret sauce that's going to make them sound amazing. And guess what? It didn't sound amazing. It didn't sound amazing at all. I wouldn't say it was shrill, but the sound was thin. There was no bass. There was no way to add a subwoofer to add bass to the situation. And then I found out I couldn't even add additional HomePods, say to the rear, to create surround sound. They haven't done that yet. They haven't added that to the software, figured that out, which is very weird for Apple. So those things went right back in their respective boxes within 2 hours of listening. I know that's really not enough time, but I'm telling you, that's how much they sucked. They went back in the box, and within 3 hours, I'd had a refund. I gave the Geek Squad guy the review. I said, these things sound terrible. He goes, yeah, I know. They don't mention that when you buy them. So, sorry, Apple. Probably going to stop sending me your products. Well, actually, you don't send me any products. You didn't put your best foot forward with the HomePods. I'm sure they're good in some applications. And so, I told my family, we're going to go back to the Klipsch Fives. This all happened in one day, one Sunday afternoon. Oh, and all that being said, at the end of this video, after I give you another short review of the Klipsch The Fives after 2 years of use, I'm going to give you 3 tips. So I got the Klipsch Fives back out, plugged them back in. It was like having an old friend back. Even though the old friend had only left for a few hours, it was like, yeah, this is the sound that I want. I want a little bit of that deep bass. I want the clarity that this 1-inch titanium driver inside of this Tractrix horn provides. I want the control in the app, and like I said, it was just like coming home again. Actually, I was already home in my living room, but it felt like I was just coming home again to a sound that I love. That's my main reason for making this video, is that sometimes, especially when you're trying to upgrade to products in the same kind of price category, same kind of class, you're not going to get great improvement. Sometimes there is a component, a device that you can buy at a certain price that punches above its weight. I know that's a cliche expression, but I still believe even at a full retail of $7.99, I believe the Fives punch above their weight in every department, in clarity, in ease of use, in the app, in the finish. It's just a no-brainer. Forget about soundbars unless you're going with some kind of super high-end $2,000, $2,500 soundbar. So forget the soundbar. If you've got space on either side, both sides of your TV, go with Klipsch The Fives. This is not a paid endorsement, but I've lived with these for 2 years. I now know, after I cheated on them with another speaker or two, I now know that I want to be married to these for as long as they want to operate. And I have no reason to believe they won't go for another 5 years. So let's take this opportunity to give you another kind of mini review. Oh, by the way, you may be wondering what this is, if you can see this on camera. This is pretty cool, and this is coming up very soon on this channel. This is the APOS by Community Gremlin balanced headphone amplifier with a brand new Gishelli Labs matching Merlin DAC 4493. Of course, I mean AKM 4493. So that's coming up. I can tell you, spoiler alert, this is really great. On the top, you have these two metal wheels here on this metal plate, which is signed the Fives. You've got a volume control, and then you've got a selector switch, which, by the way, has TV, Bluetooth, optical, USB, auxiliary, and phono. Yes, this has a built-in phono preamp, so you can actually hook up a turntable, and I do in my living room to this, and it sounds just fine. You've got magnetic grills on the front, which they don't have to do at this price point. The Tractrix horn inside, 1-inch titanium tweeter. And this is not shrill, this is not harsh. The more you play it, the more you break it in, the more you're gonna love it. A 4.5-inch woofer. Listen to that. Randy likes to do this a lot. Is that even safe? I don't know. And that woofer is inside of this waveguide. The finish is very good. Yeah, do I wish I had the walnut? Sure, but you know what? In the living room situation, this is just fine. Now, these connect to each other with a heavy-duty screw-on cable. Yeah, you got HDMI ARC. You've got USB for service. You can decide which speaker is left and which is right. You have a Bluetooth pairing button. You have USB in if you want to connect, say, a computer, a laptop. You've got optical in, a sub out, a mini auxiliary in, and an RCA left and right in, which doubles as the phono input, and then a ground connection, and then the power input. It's really cool. It's very powerful. Many of you already know the kind of signature Klipsch sound. I don't know, maybe the Klipsch sound in previous generations has been a little on the bright side, but you know, in the modern age of Klipsch, I think they've got that all under control now. Oh, and I forgot to mention, on the back of each speaker is a rectangular Tractrix port
for a little extra oomph.
And as I mentioned, I think these things sound fantastic. I think they're soundbar busters. I really do. I'm not kidding you. These have been in service for 2 years, and they're going to remain in service. Now let me give you the 3 tips that I've been thinking about. Number 1, make sure you make good connections. Once you get these set up, you don't want to have to take them out of place. Sometimes they're hard to get to. It's hard for me to get behind my television and reconnect stuff. So I made very sure when I put these back that I made really solid connections. And to that end, number 2 tip is that if something's wrong with a component, something's not working right, before you freak out and panic and run to a store and buy a replacement, just unplug everything. Unplug everything, take everything out, pull all the cables out, pull out the power, let it sit for a while, then put everything back together. That's exactly what I did when I put these back next to my TV. And guess what? It doesn't drop out anymore. It doesn't kick over back to the TV speakers. Now, I don't know why. And when you do this to your component and it suddenly starts working as advertised, you're not going to know why either. There's no rhyme or there's no way to tell what was wrong in the first place other than something wasn't right. And just by unplugging it and plugging it back in, powering it down, unplugging it, powering back up, something changed. Maybe somebody out there knows what the secret recipe is, but you know what? It doesn't cost you anything to try that. And I probably should have done that months ago, and I didn't. I know better. I should have done it. Tip number 3 from your friend Bob, and what kind of friend would I be if I didn't give you this tip? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I know. I'm like you. I watch the audio channels too. It's always so tempting to go out and try to get the next best thing, even though what you have already is doing just fine. Like in that movie Vacation with Chevy Chase. That hamburger helper does fine on its own. And I actually don't even think that makes any sense in this situation, but that's what came to mind. Yeah, this was working fine. I had a little glitch, which I fixed after only a couple of years, but I fixed it. Now I can save that money to get something else. Number 1, make good connections. Number 2, if something's not working, try reconnecting everything. And number 3, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's my advice for you. And if I had a 4th tip for you today, that would be watch another one of my videos, because I'm kind of an entertaining guy. It's going to pop up right here. The geniuses at YouTube have already decided what video you want to watch next. And with that, I want to thank you for being in the United States of Analog again today. We're going to go to 30,000 subs with your help. Cheers.